I'm Jessica, and I've been trading since I took up Kathleen's class back in 2012. No, actually full-time trading since 2012. That's a good question. I'm embarrassed to say this, but when my mom asked me to come along with her, I wasn't the keenest person, I have to admit, but I think that was the best day. That was the best day with no regrets that I came for the class, because my journey started from then on till today, and it's still going to progress out into the future. I started off with paper trading, and I did that for slightly below a year, because I wanted to build my confidence before I went live. So I did a lot of errors, which I thought in my mind, I followed the rules, it should be correct. The process should pan out all right. But what I realized, and I learned greatly from the paper trading, was the psychology part of it. Because you can see, say if you follow all the rules, but somehow that devil in you takes over, and you end up putting in trades when you ought not to, and you start going into, entering a trade when it may not be the strongest support. You will learn, because your stop loss gets triggered, and also then I had the experience of having all my stop loss tripped. So that gave me a certain confidence and also persistence, because when it gets tripped a few times, even though it's paper trading, you feel like you're beaten down, simply because you think that it's gone wrong, and it keeps getting wrong, and it keeps getting wrong again, and you go like, oh, I'm going to give up. But luckily that was on paper trading, and then I learned, no, review again, fine-tune certain things where you've gone wrong, try to understand, try it again, because you've got nothing to lose. It's not real money, but it trains you mentally to know how to accept, and to also learn that it's not about whether you're making $20, $50, $100, few hundred, few $1,000s. That didn't matter, because it was all about the process that you were doing. That journey from putting in the trade to exiting that trade, to see whether did I follow all the rules, did I do what Kathleen taught us. And once you've done that, sometimes the market just plays tricks on you. Your stop loss might get triggered, but you would know that I followed the rules. It's just the market changes occasionally, and that's okay. You can accept a stop. You can accept that you've lost a bit of money, and then you're willing to, put that aside, move forward, continue again. And that's how I progressed, and finally got the confidence in my own way, that I didn't need to refer to see if, would Kathleen put that in, or maybe she's just more accurate, she's more precise in reading the charts. I felt that, I had the confidence to say that, look, you're going to put a support here, that's going to work. That is your resistance, that's going to work, because it's your trade, it's not her trade, it's not someone else's trade. So that's how I started building my confidence to go live. For almost a year, till I have the confidence to know that what I'm reading, it's not correct, but what I'm reading suits me.
Okay. I think that's the key word, what you're reading.
Suits me, yeah. So it's a bit, because I'm going to enter in, I'm going to enter the trade, and I'm going to exit the trade, and everyone would differ by a little percentage. No one's going to read that same chart the same way. All the traders, all the investors in the world will see it slightly differently. They're going to put their own tone and color in it. So, and that's just the way they do it. So that's how I learned how it works for me. There were, at the start, there were a lot of challenges. Like I said, I did all the crazy stuff when I was paper trading. So, the things where you challenge yourself, you're not supposed to do it, you break the rules. a lot of that actually happened when I was paper trading. And thank goodness that wasn't real money. Yeah, and I think that's why it's good for people to start paper trading, because it's just like when you start driving, you're not going to use the nicest car. You would most likely be driving a junk car, because the likelihood, the probability of you hitting into things is much greater. So it's the same thing like trading. When you first start, you don't expect yourself to be a professional. You don't expect yourself to be like, mistake free. Mm-hmm. So you got to allow yourself to have that opportunity, to make all the mistakes you can. And that's where you learn, that's where you fine-tune yourself. And that's also where you realize what works for you and what doesn't. Your intuition becomes sharper. Yeah, and that happens a great deal when I was doing my paper trade. 5,000, only 5,000 when I started trading live. Yeah, when it was close to 3 years, it actually hit over and above the 25,000 mark, because I started trading options, and there was a limitation for pattern day trading, and you had to have an account more than 25,000. So when I first started trading, it was a bit frustrating, because sometimes your stop loss get tripped, and that was it. That was one day trade gone. You only had 2 left, and it was a rolling 5 days. So I had to work around it and made sure I identified good opportunities and put in a trade. So it wasn't just any random trades that didn't give you good reward over risk. So I made sure that, it was a good opportunity, we're going to go for it. And that's how I built up along the way, and that became ingrained in me to look for good price patterns to indicate good reward over risk. So before then I was very determined to hit that 25,000 mark, because in me I thought, I'm not going to live with this 3-day trade restriction. And then, I thought, if I reach that over 25,000, that means I can go in and out of trade however many times a day and not have any restrictions at all, and that's going to be wonderful. That's what my initial thought was. But when I actually passed that 25,000 mark, surprise, surprise, things were still the same. My trading patterns, my habits stayed the same way. I would not just go in the trade just because there was a slight opportunity and just get out of it to just gain, say, like a 1-to-1. I would still seek for good opportunities, good reward over risk, and enter the trade, and it stayed consistent. I thought I would go in and do like 5-day trades. No, I kind of stayed on just to about 2 or 3 a day, and some days I wouldn't even trade when I didn't want to or couldn't focus. Yeah, so I think certain habits, when you walk through that process, certain habits develop you as a trader or even an investor. So the process is very important. The basics that you should have and learn and cultivate is actually tremendously important, because that will support you for how you're going to do this in the long term. There is always an opportunity. Don't feel that just because you miss out on one, that was a brilliant time, I could have done that, and feel disheartened, because there will always be one. You always have to be on the lookout to have clarity in your mind. Be focused, be disciplined and consistent. The market is there. I don't think it will ever die. Yeah. I didn't manage to trade Trump's election because I was away in Beijing. But yes, when there's volatility, it's very good for intraday. Well, I have only put in probably about 3 trades a week of what I can afford to do. So I've only done about 3 trades a week, and so far, I won't say the numbers, but it's been quite good.